Welcome, everyone, to Defiant Productions Crypto Podcast on YouTube, where we'll be exploring the world of crypto. Guys, this is a really fast and innovative space where you have to constantly be learning. And this is great for you because whether you're a seasoned investor or just dipping your toes, we provide, basic knowledge and a little bit more intermediate. But this will help you stay up to date in this rapidly evolving space. So before we move forward, dive into this important topic that we're going to be talking about U.S. mining here in our local town, Niagara Falls. So we're going to be talking about the court filings. But before we dive into that, I just want to talk about some important dates to keep an eye out, the anticipation of these important dates. So we just had the labor market data come out today, which we have the worker filings for U.S. unemployment up 10%. We have the 14th, we have the CPI coming out, 15th, the PPI, the producer price index. And then we're going to have the Fed come together for a meeting on the 22nd to look at this data and to see whether they're going to increase interest rates by 0.5% or a quarter. So I want us to just jump right into this, guys. This is going to be super exciting. Don has a great thought process on.
All right. So there was a Supreme Court case in the state of New York that occurred a couple of days back. U.S. Bitcoin mining, which is located in the city of Niagara Falls, had a court case ruling where I'll read the court. State Supreme Court Justice signed a final order directing U.S. Bitcoin to shut down a cryptocurrency mining facility in Niagara Falls and pay the city punitive fines that exceed $1 million. Justice Edward Pace signed the order on Friday, which was last Friday, after weeks of contentious negotiations between attorneys for Niagara Falls and U.S. Data Technologies Group Limited and U.S. Data Mining Group Incorporated, doing business as U.S. Bitcoin over the wording of the final order. The order enforces a previous ruling by Pace that found U.S. Bitcoin in contempt of another order from another state Supreme Court justice that had directed the company to shut down. So I want to give a little bit of backstory on this because I have a little bit of a tie to this whole situation. We got our hands on some public documents that are related to this court case. There's three affidavits of individuals. Yeah, there's the plaintiffs there's one that's like a half a mile away, actually on Buffalo Ave.
Right.
That's I got initialed on the map BM. So the BM one is half a mile away.
Okay, let's do the BM one.
Yeah. So the only one that probably holds any water to me, honestly, is that first complaint that's really close to the facility. But again, I want to backtrack a little bit. I want to give the backstory before I dive into all that, because I don't necessarily want to assassinate the character of these individuals, because I don't know what they experienced. I can't speak on somebody else's experience, so I don't want to trash them per se. But what I do want to say is that this started about a year and a half ago. Okay. And if you remember what was going on about a year and a half ago, we were right around peak bull run, right? Bitcoin was in the news almost every single day. And you had good information and you had bad information. So, people were getting, their sources from all different kinds of places. A lot of people that don't know about crypto and don't know about Bitcoin had a platform and were speaking on it. And a lot of it was misinformation. So there was a thread on Facebook that somebody sent to me that was talking about the mining situation on Buffalo Ave, and that they were mining Bitcoin and that it was causing all this kind of noise, and the energy was crazy and yada 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 yada. Well, an even farther backstory, I know personally, because I was sent a video in 2018 by a friend of mine who's an electrician who was inside the facility, and there was rows of mines going on back then in 2018. So this didn't start in 2021 or 2022 when a lot of these complaints are filed. They've been mining for a long time. It's been going on for a long time, but nobody was talking about Bitcoin in 2018. We were in a bear market. No, it wasn't news. It wasn't click worthy. So this is the problem that I have with this. This is why it's kind of gotten, besides the fact that I was a city resident for a long time, paying property taxes and paying school taxes and living not far from this mining facility myself. My house was on Woodlawn Avenue, which is about 2 miles from this facility here. I didn't hear anything at my facility. Again, I'm not going to bash these people. I don't know their experience, but I can tell you that it wasn't loud enough for me to hear it that far away. So I got on this thread that was spreading all this misinformation about what that was happening at this facility, or what Bitcoin mining did in general. And I was doing a little bit of education. I wrote a long thread and talked about, how 60% of mining globally is clean. A lot of the energy that's being wasted at power plants is being directed to cryptocurrency mining, and they're using energy that would just be emitted in the atmosphere anyways. And the mining is actually a net positive instead of a net negative for emissions and all that climate change stuff. So I was trying to educate that and talk about, my background of being in Bitcoin for as long as I have. And I had an open invitation for anybody that had any sort of power in the city that I would be willing to educate them one-on-one. So somebody in the thread said, I can link you up with one of the councilmen if you're willing to speak with him. And I was like, absolutely. Kind of thinking that it probably wasn't going to happen. But this councilman, and again, I don't want to speak bad on this councilman because he did call me personally and gave me about a half hour of his time and was very nice on the phone and was very receptive to the information I gave him. I will say that his level of understanding of crypto was very low. His level of understanding of Bitcoin was very low, but I don't hold that against him. A lot of people are walking around like that. And I offered to him that if they were going to have further discussions about this topic, that I'd be willing to come and present in front of the city council or in front of the mayor to give them educated information on what mining is, what Bitcoin is, and what this ecosystem is, and even more so how cities like Miami, and I told him this, are really utilizing the innovation of crypto and Bitcoin and using it as a net positive for growing that city and growing that economy. You know what I mean? And I said, like, verbatim to him, I'm like, Niagara Falls has been a shithole for 40 years. You've had administration after administration just doing things to take the city in a negative direction and doing nothing positive. I told him the biggest employer in the city of Niagara Falls is sitting on a native land run by the natives that run the casino in the city of Niagara Falls. And, they don't pay taxes because they're on sovereign land. And we don't see at the city barely any of the revenue created by that place. So it's like, we've made so many bad decisions when it comes to job creation and all kinds of stuff like that. I looked up some stats today just because I was curious. 58% of the residents in the city of Niagara Falls, 16 or older, work. So that means 42% of the city, 16 or older, are unemployed. 42% unemployment rate in Niagara Falls, right? The median household income for a family of four in the city of Niagara Falls, 43,336 as of 2021, when all this was going on. The national median income is 67,521. The poverty rate in the city of Niagara Falls, 25%. The national poverty rate is 11.6. So it's more than double. So I'm presenting to him and to the city at the time an opportunity to get at the ground floor of innovation. And I told him, listen, you have a country like El Salvador that's using volcanoes to mine crypto and create GDP for that country, right? And I'm like, you guys might want to like look into this instead of like attacking this Bitcoin mining company. You should be sending representatives there to discuss with them. How can the city get involved with this, right? How can we set up some mining on some land that maybe is far away from, consumers, where we can start mining some cryptocurrency and adding to, these deficits in the city and maybe even create jobs, right? Put some people to work in these facilities. Crickets. Well, you got hydroelectric power that's being used at the power authority here to create electricity. So, there's nothing cleaner than hydroelectric power. So the source is here already to create that energy. It wouldn't take much to divert some of that energy to a city-run or even state-run facility to start mining cryptocurrency to take advantage of the economic benefits for the city. But the problem is, and again, this is me talking. I don't want to drag Troy into this because this is personal for me. The city of Niagara Falls and the people that run the city of Niagara Falls don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about me. They don't give a shit about taxpayers. They don't give a shit about innovation. And that's been clear for 40 years. Every single administration from Restino down does not give a shit about the city. If they did, they'd be open these types of conversations in order to create innovation. They care about votes. That's what this is. That's what this attack of U.S. Bitcoin mining, it's for votes. Because you have an uneducated, massive voters that don't know, and they say, oh, Bitcoin bad, oh, energy, oh, climate change, let's go after them. That's what's happening. And it's bullshit. And I'm calling them out on it. I'm calling out the city of Niagara Falls, and I'm calling bullshit on the city of Niagara Falls. Me, Don Rinaldi. I'm not going to drag Defiant Production into it, but I'm calling them out because I have a personal tie to this situation. And I'm going to put pressure on them through our podcast and through, my social media that this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's no reason that we can't use this natural source of energy to create revenue and jobs for a city that's just dying. 42% unemployment rate and double the national poverty rate. And we have this innovative technology that's happening in our fucking backyard. And we go after them and try to shut them down. That's what's happening. And if you're a resident of the city of Niagara Falls or you're a resident in this area, you should be absolutely appalled at this situation. Let me read this for you as well, because I looked this up, right? I just talked about Miami, right? Miami's in Florida. Florida is a very business-friendly state, okay? New York is not very business-friendly. New York will tax the shit out of you. New York will stifle innovation. Let me give you some statistics where venture capital is going. This is from 2021 until December of 2022. Boston lost 29% of venture capital. Austin, Texas lost 23% of venture capital. San Francisco, 26.34% of venture capital. New York City, right, the financial hub of the entire world, lost 24% of venture capital. Miami is up 11%. The only city that's up in venture capital investment in the United States of America. And what are they doing? Crypto innovation. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that this is happening in our backyard and our city government is going after them instead of trying to work with them or gain information from them or some asshole like me that could give them some education to figure out how maybe the city could take it off this path that we've been going since urban renewal in the 70s of just destroying the city.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
That was yeah. Keep going.
I mean, it's just I know it's personal, so it's hard for me not to get like all worked up like this and my thoughts get jumbled. But it's like I can't believe I just can't believe it. And I know some people that are involved in government in the city, and I think they're good people as like aside, just good people. But as city government leaders, they're not doing their jobs. It's no better. The city is no better. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican, it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat, because you got Republicans, you got Democrats on both sides of city government. So it's not political. It's not a political party.
Well,
it's not any of that. It's just bad governing, period. No openness to any innovation at all. And it's not like if this was 2018 and I was having these conversations, it'd be like, I could understand that they don't want to hear it. But you got this shit happening in Buffalo Avenue in the city of Niagara Falls. It's here. You have a resource, even better than me. People that are actually mining. Talk to them. How's it done? What's going on? How can we do it? How can we benefit? How can we benefit our city residents for this? How can we put Niagara Falls on the map? How can we get innovation here? How can we have conferences here? Because you know what? You start having crypto conferences. You know what that means? That means hotel rooms get filled. That means that restaurants get filled. That means money goes in people's pockets. That's the shit that's what goes down the line. That's what it's not just, we open up a mining facility and the city gets out of debt. It's much bigger than that. You put money in the pockets of the people that are suffering in this city. But they don't give a shit and they're not going to do it. And that's bullshit. And I'm calling bullshit.
So we have a U.S. Bitcoin mining facility right here near Buffalo Avenue. And they're shut down.
There's an injunction right now where if they continue to mine, I believe it's a $10,000 fine. Let me look in the article. Let me go back to the article. I believe as of now, Pace ruled that if U.S. Bitcoin continues to operate, he'll impose fines of $10,000 a day through February 1st. I have submitted questions to the public relations department at U.S. Bitcoin. And we're anticipating that they'll respond to us. And when they do, we will come on the podcast and we will give whatever feedback that they decide that they want to give us. I've also given them an open invitation to come on this podcast here to talk about the situation. whatever they can say, obviously, because it's being litigated. But I think, the public relations can probably speak pretty freely, I would guess.
And those documents you provided, those are public records because
Public records and anybody can see. Yeah. And get it. It's like a FOIL request. You put a FOIL request and they have to give you those documents.
Okay.
They're not sealed documents.
I thought that was really good. That was really good.
So I mapped out what Troy's got on the screen right now. You got US Bitcoin where they're located on Buffalo Ave. And then you have the 3 affidavits, BM, PF, and JK. Those are the individuals that filed complaints saying that their quality of life has been significantly affected by the noise that's happening at US Bitcoin. For those of you that don't live in the city of Niagara Falls or live in this area, Buffalo Avenue has factories up and down Buffalo Avenue. And there is see what's happening. Part of this is the government is creating a situation where they're going after US Bitcoin and they're targeting them specifically because there's certain noise ordinances when you're creating a high energy, when you're doing a high energy endeavor, you have to treat every single company the exact same that's creating that energy, right? So US Bitcoin, I will tell you, is not the only organization operating a high energy endeavor on Buffalo Avenue. They're the only one being targeted because they're called US Bitcoin and because they're mining Bitcoin. So what's happening by the state of New York and the city of Niagara Falls is unconstitutional. They're singling out an organization for something that other organizations are also doing, but they're not going after them, which should piss you off even more. Because what's the motivation for that? On the map, you'll see the 3 pins away from US Bitcoin. The first one is about a half a mile away, that BM right there. I would say it's probably realistic that you're going to hear noise coming from a facility that's a plant on that street. If you look, those are all residential areas. There was a point in time where Buffalo Avenue had a lot more businesses that were the plants that were running. So it was very normal for lots of sound to be coming from Buffalo Ave because there were plants that were there making noise. So, I mean, the fact that, you have these 3 individuals and that JK is quite a ways away. And, the complaints are not really, I mean, you have these 3 that filed out of all the households that are in the general radius of those 3 places. It doesn't seem to be that big of a problem for any other people. And again, I do not want to, it's public record. So you can see that these people, I mean, they made the decision to go public. Okay. So when you do that, when you go public, like me and you doing this podcast, when we do this podcast, we open ourselves up to people shitting on us, right? Mm-hmm. We open up the comments to people saying, hey, you suck, or you don't know what you're talking about, or Bitcoin sucks. Or when you go public, you open yourself up to a semblance of scrutiny. Okay. So again, I don't want to attack these individuals because I don't know them and I don't know their experiences. So I don't want it to come off like that. However, when you file a public affidavit, you do open up the potential for scrutiny. And, the guy that's way up there, JK at the top over there, and you're complaining about hearing stuff coming from US Bitcoin. I don't want to call you a liar, but I mean, it seems rather ridiculous that your life, your quality of life is affected to that extent that, you know what I mean? That you had to file an affidavit saying that, you can't get by. I mean, I don't know. It's a little, I don't want to go too hard on, those individual people. My beef is more with the city. My beef is more with government in the stifling of innovation and the complete ball drop in regards to what they could be doing to make Niagara Falls, New York, a hub for crypto or for innovation. I mean, can you imagine? Like, I've been in crypto since 2013, and I've reached out, right? Like, there's Bitcoin meetups have been happening that I've been aware of since 2014. The closest meetup that we've had has been like Toronto, and I've been in contact with people. And I'm like, hey, do you guys ever think you'd ever come to Niagara Falls? And it's like, you're the only one. Why? We're not just gonna come to see you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, great guy, but like, we're not just gonna come down there just for one person. You know what I mean?
We need more education. We need more education
Yeah.
on this matter. You know, that's I'm glad you came on and talked about that. I'd love to make those into like a shorter form reel and then, you know, be able to get that out. As you
And
can see.
again, if you're watching this, and I hope that people will, I'm even thinking about doing a Facebook Live sometime later today, just to like, because people like to watch that and just click on it, just to expose people that we're talking about this today. Because again, I think that this is not just about crypto. This is about the city. This is about the area. This is about New York State. It's about innovation, and it's about the fact that people that are elected into office are not doing what's best for the people that they're serving. And this is just a plain example of it. And there's no excuse for them to, at the very least, be looking into it. And I know that that's not happening. Mm-hmm. I know personally it's not happening. So to recap, we have US Bitcoin located in the city of Niagara Falls limits, who is getting an injunction against them from the city of Niagara Falls to stop them from mining Bitcoin due to a misunderstanding of both the government of the city of Niagara Falls, as well as the state of New York, of what kind of mining and what goes into mining and the kind of energy that's being used and the innovation that they're stifling. They are, as far as I know, I think they're still mining. And if they are, it's a $10,000 a day fine in order to do so. I was in contact with a councilman in the city of Niagara Falls about a year and a half ago to talk about this situation, and offered my expertise in Bitcoin, specifically to talk to city council members or to talk to the city and to help educate them. And I also brought to their attention, or his attention, what's going on in Miami and the innovation that's happening there and how that city is growing and what they're doing for that city in regards to the innovation with crypto. And I heard nothing. The next time I heard anything was when I saw a couple of days ago that the injunction that was put against US Bitcoin and all the bullshit that they're putting in the press about US Bitcoin. We have a couple of affidavits we got our hands on in regards to the people that filed against US Bitcoin for noise ordinances. And I also submitted personally to the public relations at US Bitcoin questions that we had to further their case in trying to get their case out there so people can know what's really going on instead of just hearing, the government side, which is usually not the truth. And I also have an open invitation out to their PR department to come on this podcast and to talk to the people, to tell them exactly what's going on. And, that's basically the gist of this whole situation.
Awesome. So that was just a TLDR, if skipped around in the video. And
yeah.
So I think that was a great topic we touched on today. And
I think this is an important one that, like, we're getting views, not as many like likes or subscribes and shares. Like, if you watch this video, share it on your social media so somebody can see what's really going on. Like, you're seeing stuff in the news about Bitcoin, and you got two guys here with a combined 15 years of experience in the space. Like, we know this space, we know what's going on, we know what it takes to mine, we understand the green aspect of like the fact that all this mining, what one facility can enough energy to light up a whole country. It's like, not all that is true, man. You gotta sift through what's true and sift through what's not. And let me tell you this, and I talked about this before. Traditional banking, the amount of energy that's emitted, the carbon footprint of traditional banking that rapes you every single day over the coals, far outpaces Bitcoin. It's not even close. So if you replace the traditional banking system with Bitcoin, you're actually in a better place than you are with the system that you have now, which is what we're working towards anyways, which is the end goal of all this, to get rid of these guys that take your money and hold on to it for 3 or 4 days in these clearinghouses, and then, or, decide when you deposit your check that, you deposit 1,000 and you make a couple payments that'll keep you from overdrafting. And then they decide, oh, we'll put the largest one first and they'll do it. So then they hit you with 3 or 4 overdraft fees. You're like, what the hell? That's the system that we're trying to supplant. That's the system that has a much larger carbon footprint than Bitcoin and crypto does. Those are facts.
And we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Do you have any last minute thoughts, Don, you want to give to the viewers before we close this out?
I can't say enough how important it is to just be responsible when it comes to your finances. This is a crypto podcast. Bitcoin podcast. So I'm going to assume that you have some semblance of desire to engage in this. But whatever it is you do with your money, man, people work too hard and things are getting so tough out there that you just need to be responsible. Make responsible decisions. Whatever those decisions may be, think it through before you do it, man. Just whatever you're going to do, think about it 2 or 3 times before you do it and make sure it's the right thing to do. Don't do it on impulse, man. Things are getting too crazy out there to be wasting energy and wasting value and wasting time.
Yeah.
Don't trust, verify.
Don't trust, verify. All right, guys, we're closing it out. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like.